Hello and welcome to the Profit Project interview series, where today we're going to be talking all about wonderful wealth. And today we're talking to somebody who is an expert in this space. And that person today is the awesome Sean McGowan from WLM Financial Services. Great to have you on board, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, cool. And so, we've had a bit of a chat, and, wealth can mean so many things to many people. For some people, it's financial, some it's lifestyle, some it's mindset. There's so many different aspects to wealth. What does wealth mean to you?
It actually means lifestyle, to be honest. It allows you, I see it as a tool to allow you to be able to do the things you want to do in life. A lot of people think that having heaps and heaps of money is the answer to all their problems. It isn't. It just creates a whole different set of problems. So it's about having the right amount of wealth, which is really tied back to what you actually want out of life.
Yeah, awesome. I love that holistic sort of approach and mindset around wealth management. And again, that's your speciality. You work in the financial planning space. You're one of the directors there at WLM Financial Services. And I guess I am curious. I'm always interested in the backstory of people. How did you sort of get into that in the first place, and what attracted you to the financial planning space?
Just one interesting point that I will add to that. A lot of people don't know that WLM actually also means Wealth and Lifestyle Management. It's just, some of the founding partners' names as well. Why did I get into financial planning? Throughout school, I always had an interest in finance, economics, and I've always liked helping people. But for me, sort of on a more personal note, growing up, I really hated listening to my parents fight and worry about money. And I always thought to myself, I don't want to be in that situation. Don't necessarily want to be absolutely loaded, but I want to know how to be smart with my money. So that's always sort of been something that's sort of pushed me along, something that I remember as a kid that's had a big impact on me.
Yeah, and that's understandable. It's fascinating how some of our backstories sort of position us to where we sort of end up, and we sort of, we see one way and we go, well, there's got to be a different way. So I guess as you've sort of charted that journey, you've done a whole heap of study, education, and, you've no doubt implemented plenty of things in your personal life around creating the lifestyle that you're after. I'm interested, obviously a lot of challenges, a lot of bumps along the way. Interested from both, I guess, a personal perspective, but also, from clientele perspective, what are some of the challenges that you've experienced and clients experience along the way to creating that lifestyle that people are after?
One of the first things is actually, I guess, getting help. A lot of people don't like talking about money. It's a really, closely guarded thing, particularly in this country. So I think realizing that you actually need help for a lot of people and seeking help is it's the first step, really. In terms of challenges as a planner, there's a lot of education that we have to do, which a lot of people don't realize. So, we constantly, years and years of study go into getting all your qualifications, especially if you want specialist qualifications. One of the biggest things, and I guess the Royal Commission has brought it to the forefront, there is a stigma and a perception that people have of financial planners. It can be a challenge. A lot of people think we're scumbags and whatnot. And there has been a real sales focus on the industry because it has come out of the life insurance industry. So, there's all horror stories, but, once, if you're looking for a financial planner, you really want to look for someone who is strategic, who offers strategic advice, who charges basically for their service rather than how much money is being invested, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I think the first one you touched upon there, Sean, was one that I know you and I both face a bit. We both talk about finances, me more so in the business space, yourself more in the personal space. But it's a common thing because there's so much emotional attachment and emotional connotations around money and the like that quite often it is that component where people are worried about being judged if they share their position and those sorts of things. I guess, how do you sort of broach that? I know, there's certain things that I try to do to obviously make people comfortable and the like, as far as, giving people those comfort and assurances that, the reality is, like you said, you've done so much study and resources, and what you're actually there is to help people. It's how do you work through that with people that you come across?
Yeah, I mean, in the first meeting, I guess what we're really talking about is them. It's not, we're not really them and what they want out of the process and what they want out of life. It's not really about what they've, the details of what they've got, all that kind of stuff. So once you sort of flip the conversation around and make them realize, well, hang on, no, this is about us and this is about what we want, and this is about how we use money to get that. I think people tend to open up. Sometimes people come in and they'll just say, all right, we've got this, and this, and they're telling you all about all this assets and everything they hold. And you sort of got to take the conversation back. Okay, well, why are we doing all this? Why are you obviously taking a lot of risk? Do they need to take that amount of risk? So in short, to answer your question, I flip it on its head and make it all about them.
Yeah, awesome. It's such a great approach, and I know that's why, we get on pretty well. We've got a very similar mindset around some of this, and I think it's that whole process of, as you touch upon, get them talk and go, hey, what is that end picture, and what is that lifestyle, and what are they actually after? And obviously people get really usually comfortable, and they make a judgment call on whether, they like your style and whether they're a fit. And I know that's my experience as well. And people usually open up to the point that they've felt comfortable, you've made them feel comfortable. And obviously once they start to step through that process, that's an awesome way to look at things. And so I guess, the benefits and outcomes and the stories that people get, and share some sort of obviously high level examples, no personal details obviously, but even some little case studies of people that have come through challenging, have a certain idea of where they want to get to. And I guess the benefits of having somebody step through that process with them, to really hold their hand in that process.
Yeah. Sorry if you can hear my kids in the background. They're being homeschooled. I guess from a high level, what I give people is, direction. So again, do a lot of focus on what their goals and what they want out of life, and build a plan backwards from that. So we're giving them developing, because a lot of people don't actually realise or know what they want out of life. So it's a real sort of fact finding and exploration process. And then once we give them sort of that direction and we work backwards to where they are now, they have a purpose and some direction and something to follow, similar to your process. So not only direction, we give them control over their finances as well. There's a lot of emphasis on simplifying things, making it easy to understand, making it easy to operate. That brings peace of mind. I mean, for a lot of people, how do you put a price on that? Take it back to not having to fight about money, not having to worry about money, knowing that if something goes wrong, you're protected, knowing that you're using your money wisely and growing wealth over time. And a lot of the I guess the value that we add is outsourcing all of that. So giving people back their time, allowing them to focus on what they do, be it their business, be their hobbies, obviously their family. That's sort of the higher level stuff. You've kind of caught me off guard with individual case studies. I've got so many to choose from.
I did throw that curly one in there. It's probably because, I have heard a number of the case studies that you have shared over time. But if you haven't got one, not sort of off the top of your head, I totally get it, because there are so many different ones out there, and there obviously so many intricacies with that. But I thought if one just popped in mind that you might give a sort of an example overview.
Yeah, one I guess relates to what you do. I'll talk about sort of what we do for business owners. Obviously, keep it generic, privacy reasons. A lot of business owners, as you know, are so focused on their business and so focused on the day-to-day that they lose sight of the bigger picture. And as a result, a lot of their wealth is actually tied up in their business. It's hard for them to see the forest through the trees. And certain businesses you can't obviously sell, but a lot of businesses you can, and you need to, I guess, work with them to have that end goal in mind. Okay, well, how do we get out of this? How do we realise the value out of this business? There's also a lot of risks involved in running businesses. obviously legal risk, financial risk. So a lot of people are unaware of that. So obviously we work closely with trying to manage all that sort of stuff. There's also, it kind of ties in with what you do, getting cash flow. So, these business owners are slugging their guts out trying to run their businesses, but they might not be taking any money out of the business or making much profit. And again, that relates to the sort of lifestyle they lead. So they're probably really stressed, really highly strung, could be impacting their relationship at home and really getting nowhere financially. So I guess what we do is, help them realize all this, talk through all this, address the risks, come up with a plan, make sure the cash flow is coming out. Obviously work with accountants and people like yourself, make sure that there's cash flow coming out to meet their lifestyle and to grow wealth, and to make sure that we're also growing wealth outside of the business. Because unfortunately, this COVID's been an example. You can have a great business one day and the following week, it's on its knees. So speaking high level, case study wise, that's sort of what we do with business owners.
Yeah, there's so many good examples, both in that little case study that you've provided there, but also some of the quotes before that I've just sort of picked out there is, the whole giving the time back for people, because we all know, and again, especially when we're talking about wealth, lifestyle, and those sorts of things, time is actually our most valuable asset, and being able to give that back to people, I'm guessing, endlessly rewarding when you actually hit those, when you're able to do that for people. And also the other one that really stuck out with me was the whole, peace of mind. How do you put a price on that? And it's, people being able to sleep at night and just feeling comfortable and safe, which means that then they can then go and focus on, what they really want to focus on, which is all those things you touch about, whether it's lifestyle, social impact, generating more wealth financially, whatever that is. You've given a couple of great sort of nuggets and insight into the power of of what can be achieved, and also, why the topic of this series is around wonderful wealth and why it can be wonderful. So I guess you've already given some great stuff. To round things off, if you were to sort of give a tip or two here and there around, wealth creation or, just wealth mindset, what would you share with if somebody was watching this now and they could take something away that they just went, they went and implemented that tomorrow, that would set them on a great path?
Yeah, well, look, having a plan is a big one. A lot of people, and look, don't get me wrong, they do it really well. They go out and can create a lot of wealth. Obviously take on a lot of risk in doing it, or quite often do. But it's great to have a plan, knowing how much risk you've got to take, when you've got to do certain things, when you've got to pay certain things back by, and, when you can stop working, all that stuff. I guess having a reason why, something tying it all together, gives you, as I mentioned before, some direction. But it comes back to what you do as well, Craig, and it's a great tip. Cash flow is so important. You can make money doing certain things and getting lucky in business and inheriting money and all that sort of stuff. But for most people, good cash flow management is how you create wealth. Pretty simple equation. You need to spend less than you're earning. And look, people that earn a lot of money are actually quite often pretty good at spending it. So I focus where they need the help. With cash flow plans. They've got a basic system of managing cash flow that gives them, I guess, some, I don't like to use the word limits, but, amounts to live by. Because most people were good at managing cash flow at some point in time, but as you earn more and more, you tend to spend more and more, and it all gets out of control. And I've had examples of clients that are earning $1 million plus per year, and getting nowhere because they're just spending too much money. And all they need, and they're super thankful for, is just having some system put in place to help manage their cash flow. And then they're just hammering their debts and getting closer to where they want to be. So have a plan and be good at cash flow.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, you know very well that you're speaking to my heart with those two. So important in both business and personal as well, and they're obviously so interrelated with all the things that we've touched upon. The emotional side of money and lifestyle, they're so intertwined. And know that the approach that you'll follow is very similar to obviously what I do in a business world. You do something very similar, and we both have seen the outcomes and the benefits of those. And so I'd highly agree with those of having the plan in place and setting up a system and structure around around the cash flow side of things. And, you know, I love that you touch upon the limits. You don't want to call it limits. And, you know, it's kind of the way that you do it and the way that I do it. I think it's kind of, you're putting those behavioral constraints in. You set up systems to be able to sort of do that. And, you know, it's just a way of, you know, the human behavior. And that's that whole Parkinson's law that you and I kind of know a little bit. If people want to go and check that out, read into that, and it applies to finances very much as well. So, yeah, that wraps up. In a short period of time, we've covered off a heap of ground. And I think, you know, somebody listening to this today or watching this video as it goes live, if they just implement those two little things and take a couple of the ideas that you've talked about through here, that will very much be on the path to wealth creation, again, for whatever that means for them as an individual. So I can't thank you enough for jumping on this interview today to be able to share it with us. And if people want to be able to find yourself, find a bit more about WLM Financial Services, where's the best place they can go to connect with you guys?
Yep. So obviously our website, which is www.wlm, so Whiskey Lima Mike, .com.au, or you can get on LinkedIn or Facebook and check out our pages there.
Yeah, awesome. And we'll obviously throw all those details into the show notes as these go live as well. So we'll link through to them so that people can find you nice and easy. So once again, Sean, thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it, mate. And all the best in creating awesome wealth around the place.
Thank you, Craig.